there. You have pulled over. You know, you were trying to get around the truck. You know, as soon as you go around him, the state trooper's sitting right there. You don't even wait for him to put his lights on. Go ahead and pull off once you get around the truck. And what happened?
Yeah. So as I'm kind of hitting the brakes a little not crazy, but a little aggressive. A pistol is on the console, slides right off the console and goes right up under the pedals of the truck. And I'm just like, I don't know. I've heard 100 horror stories and news things and YouTube videos and dash cam stuff of an officer shooting somebody in a vehicle. I've seen a bunch of them where an officers had shot people on motorcycles too. I'm a little unsettled, like I don't know what to do. So I just kind of sit there and put both my hands out the window. And as he came up, he asked if there was any firearms in the vehicle. And I said yes. And I said I did. I said I have a shotgun in the back, and that's all that I said. I didn't really want to alert him to the pistol sitting right there at my feet. I didn't know how he would take it. It's total. I just was like, I don't know. I'm kind of rattled at this point. I don't really know what the right thing to do is. So he asked me, you know why you pulled over? And I was like, yes. I definitely was going too fast. I was just trying to get around that truck and make the exit. I had a car almost pull into me. And he's like, okay, well, give me your license. And he goes back to I can't remember if he asked me to get out of the truck, I think, and wait at the back because there was firearms in the truck. You know, that's just kind of normal, I guess. I said, yeah, no problem. And I sat on the tailgate of the truck for a long time. And I don't remember him coming back up and talking to me. I don't think, but some more police cars started to show up. You know, after 20 minutes or so.
Wait, before you get to those cops, what is your demeanor? I mean, you just had this shootout. I know that sounds horrible, but that's basically what happened. This shootout, and now then you a little bit of road rage, and then the cop pulls you over after the shootout. When he asks for your ID, are you shaking like like what's happening? Are you red in this? Are you sweating?
When with the pistol under the pedals and all that stuff, I'm like, oh God, like don't move a muscle. You're gonna get, this is, I'm just really worried about this officer seeing me as a threat and doing something crazy.
Right.
But he was cool and calm. He said, why don't you come sit out back because there are firearms in the vehicle. At that point, I actually was like, okay, cool. I'm with an officer. I'm not going to get shot right now. I'm okay. I'm here. I'm okay. I actually, after getting out of the vehicle, I settled down for a minute.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, what's going on? I'm kind of thinking, like, what just happened? There's the things that I said about where this guy got shot and everything that I had no idea about at the time. I had no idea that for sure that I'd hit him. I heard him say ow one time, but he said ow. It wasn't like, he got hit with a bullet and he did a flip and did dramatic stuff. He was still up and moving.
When you left that scene, were you running? Were you scared that you were going to be shot?
Yes, absolutely. The whole time I was ducking behind the steering wheel until I got down to the stoplight.
But there's no blood spots or anything like that on you, is there?
What's that?
There's no blood spots or anything from the shooting. Nothing. No, there's no blood. There's no evidence that you were just in a shootout.
Right. Nothing. Right. Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. No bullet holes in the truck. And when I left there, I didn't see anything. And we're watching the video later. You see after he turns around, he carries on all the way across the parking lot, back past his bike. He drops something black in the parking lot. You see it bounce on the ground, and it stays there, and then he trips over the curb and falls into the grass. But right as he's getting close to that curb, I'm in drive and starting to pull off.
Okay.
So I never knew that he went down. I'm just kind of sitting there like, what happened? I said, well, he said, ow, I might have grazed him.
Did you see the other guy tending to him?
No. When I last thing I saw with those two, he's just standing there with his hands up.
Okay, so you're standing there, the other cops pull up, and what happens?
You're sitting on the tailgate.
Yeah. So, I'm sitting on the rear bumper.
Okay.
I'm just kind of waiting, kind of conferring. I'm like, what's going on? What happened? Are they here because of that? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. One of the cops comes up and it was like, oh shoot, I'm sorry, I did forget something. Yeah, the officer, the highway patrolman must have come back up because I called my girlfriend on the phone and said, hey, I don't know what just happened, but something crazy. And here's where I am, right on Hopewell Church Road exit. I'm pulled over, and I don't want to get into any more than that. I don't want to scare you, but something really crazy and scary happened, and I'm here, and there's an officer got me pulled over. So she's like, okay, call me back. Let me know what's going on. So he had me get out of the truck. My keys are in there. My wallet's in the cup holder, and my cell phone's in the cup holder. So I'm just back there with my ID, and that's about it.
All right. And then what happened?
Yeah. So these other officers showed up, and I think the officer's name is Cody. I didn't know his name at the time, but he approached me and asked me what was going on. But what's the situation? There was an altercation up there at Barbecue Joe's. What do you know? What's up with that? And I didn't say anything. I didn't say I don't know anything. I didn't feed him any BS, none of that stuff.
This call is from the North Carolina Correctional Facility.
And just shrugged. I just shrugged and kept my mouth shut. So there was a little banter between me and maybe some of the highway patrol guys, but as far as talking about the incident, I didn't say anything. I figured they were going to come and tell me something.
Well, for all of them to show up, how many cop cars showed up after the fact? After you were already pulled over, how many came?
I think 2 pulled up, another highway patrolman, and then, I'm waiting there an hour.
So did you already assume when
God.
all of them pulled up, did you already assume that they already knew what was going on and they were waiting for you to tell them?
Yeah, I kind of figured somebody called 911 and they were here to figure out what happened. But I'm kind of sticking with, in my mind, he just said over and over and over again, don't say anything. Don't say anything. Your lawyer would screw you later. I know, a little bit about some interrogation techniques. So when they start trying to do that, I just clam up. Like, you're trying to finesse me to get me to say something. I'm just going to sit back and just hear what you have to say. I'm not, because I don't really know what happened and I don't want to get myself in trouble.
Right, and it's not like you actually displayed your name at this point. You never got to introduce yourself, so no one even knew that it was you.
Right, but I wasn't really thinking in those terms. I was just thinking,
don't say anything to incriminate yourself.
Like let's figure out what's going on before I say anything about anything.
Got it.
So I think he tried to go up and look at my truck and all that kind of stuff, and they were had asked about searching the truck, and I was like, no, you want to search my truck, get a warrant. And I'll be totally straight. There was something in my truck. I knew that they were not going to be happy about it if they found it. So, but that was, I don't know. It wasn't really my thought process at the time. Just sit there and wait till somebody tells you what's going on, and then be careful what you say.
Yeah. What were you referring to that was in the truck? Was it just the gun or the gun that had been used at the restaurant?
There was a very, very small amount of drugs that somebody gave me to give to somebody else. I'm not saying I've never tried a drug or ever done any at a party or something like that, but that's not my thing. I'm not a drug person. Okay. I just, I've always took care of my body. I have kids. I think about that kind of stuff, and I made a really dumb mistake agreeing to take a very small amount of something to give to somebody else.
So in this situation,
really out of character.
So in this situation, you're definitely thinking about those drugs sitting in there, and you don't want to give them permission to search.
Right.
Yeah.
Because and now looking back, I'm like, dude, it's just being difficult and delaying the inevitable. They will get a search warrant, and they do have the right to search. Once they get that. But again, I don't know the whole situation. I don't know what. I kind of figured they were just up there sitting there, or maybe somebody in the restaurant called, but they're gone. I don't really know. And then after probably an hour, 10 minutes or so, detective pulls up.
If they were to just flash a flashlight down into your window, you said the truck was tall, but would they be able to see that the gun was in the floor or no? Possibly. I don't know. But he kind of looked around and I was like, hey, what are you doing? Because we just had the warrant talk. And he's like, I'm just checking it out. And, nice truck, and I was like, okay, whatever. The
kind of got an electrical panel in there, wire, tools. It's not a mess. It's just busy. It's got a lot of stuff shoved in there.
Okay. And you only had the one gun in there, or you had a few other guns?
No, I said earlier I took the pack of target and the shotgun with me to go shoot with the guy whose powder coating of it I'm going to work on. Every time I've gone up there, we've gone out behind the shop and shot something. So I was like, well, I'll just bring these, bring some targets, bring the rifle and the shotgun, and then I got my pistol if we want to shoot a couple rounds while we're up there. What's that?
Okay, if you're sitting in the truck, are they out or are the guns put away?
They're on the floor of the back of the truck.
They're on the floor. Okay, so all the guns are in the floor.
They're visible.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've got an access tab truck. They're on the floor, but you can't get to them. There's tools and stuff piled above them. You can't even get close to them. But now the detective shows up, and he kind of comes and talks to a couple of the officers, and then asked me would I talk to him in his car, and I said sure. And at no point did I give these guys any hard time. I mean, other than you can kind of consider it with the warrant thing. Other than that, I did everything he asked me to do, and just if I didn't feel comfortable asking a certain question, I shrugged my shoulders, and that was like one time. So he asked me if I wanted to go in the car and talk. I said, yeah, that's fine. So I get in the car, and the passenger side, in the front, I'm not in the back or anything. And he said something to everybody. I couldn't hear. He jumps in the car and puts the car in drive, and we take off at like we're drag racing. He's got him mashed to the floor, and we're gone. And I remember looking out the window at my girlfriend and her mom.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
I'm sure I looked pitiful, like, oh gosh, where are we going? I wasn't expecting this. So I asked him, like, wait, what are you doing? And I said, my keys are in there, my phone's in there, my wallet's in the truck. I said, I got $3,000 plus worth of tools. What the heck? And I might have, that's all I remember saying to him. And he's like, well, I can have your girlfriend get it,
And you're sitting in the front seat?
Sorry. Yeah, I'm sitting in the front seat,
Are you seat belted?
And he's hauling.
I'm just worried about your safety.
Yeah, I had to put it on while he's taking off. Yeah. I don't even know if he got his on.
Jeez. That's what we're worried about here. Okay. And so you're sitting in the front seat. He says he's going to have your girlfriend get it.
Yes.
What happens?
Yeah. Well, sorry. I forgot something.
Okay.
He first tells me, well, I can have my guys get your stuff. And I said, no, they're not going in the truck. I said, get a warrant. I said, my girlfriend can go get my keys, wallet, and cell phone. Why does he ever do that? And he said, yes, I can do that. So I'm expecting him to call somebody back there or get on the radio or do something, right? So we're driving. This is in Trinity. We're heading towards Asheboro. I know where about the sheriff's department is. I've been working down there for 5 years. And I kind of know about where we're heading. And we're kind of halfway there. And I'm like, hey, man, are you going to call and let them know my girl can get my stuff? And he looks at me and kind of grins and says, nah, I had my guys get it. And I'm just kind of like, dude, so you're going to lie to me. Why do I want to talk to you at all? And he kept trying this, asking me questions like, well, how long have you people been here? And I was like, what do you mean by you people? Like what do you mean by it? He's like, oh, your family. Oh, I was like, oh, I bought this house in 08. And then before that, I lived for 2 years right down the road in Thomasville on 62, But he keeps trying to do this interrogation thing where he asks you comfortable questions and then throw the humdinger in there they really want to know. But I don't know. After that, I was like, I don't know if I have anything to say to you if you're going to lie to me. So we kind of rode in silence the rest of the way to the sheriff's department. And he brings me inside and puts me in a room, like an interview room. He leaves the door open, and there's like a great big sergeant. They sit in a chair right at the door, so I couldn't get past him. And, he leaves, So I'm just sitting at this table in this room, and I'm there for about 2 hours, and I start to talk to the sergeant, like, hey, man, what's going on? What's the deal? I've got family, I've got a business, I've got all kinds of stuff going on. Like, tonight's a little crazy. What's happening? Please, he's like, I don't know. I said, well, can I go to the bathroom? And I had asked him that about 5 times, and finally let me go use the bathroom. So I sat there in the interview room for right around 4 hours. So now everything happened at the restaurant at like 4 o'clock. And we left the side of the road just after 5, so it's after 9, probably working on 9:30, and the detective shows back up. Starts putting gloves on and like snapping them real provocatively. And I said, hold on, man, I don't know what you think you're getting ready to do. but I'm not going any further without a lawyer present. Like, I thought he was getting ready to strip search me. I don't know. That's kind of how he looked. And then he got real disgusted. He takes his gloves off and throws them in the trash. He's like, oh, all right, I'll be back. And then he takes off for like another half an hour. He came back to the interview room, and he says, look, you've done everything I've asked you to do. You've been compliant. You've been cordial. Thank you for that. But I got to take you over to the magistrate now, and I'm not allowed to bring you over there without cuffs on. So we got to put them on. It's a formality. You're not trying to do anything crazy. I was like, no, let's go do what we got to do.
Wait, is this the same guy that came in to put the gloves on?
Yes, this is detective. Yeah, he went from kind of agitated to come back all calm and cool.
So he put the gloves on.
But nobody's told me anything.
Right.
What's happened? Nobody said a word. They're just like, do this, do that, sit there.
Are you under
I don't
arrest?
know. I'll tell you when I find out.
Are you even under arrest at this point?
No.
They haven't read your Miranda?
Never was arrested. Never arrested. Never read my Miranda rights. Never told what was going on. None of that stuff.
The ride in the police car, you're not cuffed or anything?
Not until he said he had to take me to the magistrate.
God,
so I figured, like, see, what am I going to get charged with? Am I going to get charged with something in my truck? Am I going to get, I'm like, oh my gosh. And, like, worried about little things compared to what's about to happen, But I'm also like, well, we'll figure it out. Let's just get through whatever the next thing is. And he's calm. Like, he said he appreciated how I was acting and all that kind of stuff. So we ride down the street to the jail, right down the same little road, go into the go in where they do fingerprints, go up to the magistrate's window, which is like 2 rooms over. And he's like, okay, how did he put it? I'm charging you now. And I was like, oh, like, okay. And now I'm thinking in my mind about this, like, what's coming. And he's like, yes, I'm charging you with murder, no degree. And it felt like, almost like somebody punched me in the stomach. Like, I was just like, ugh. Like, it just, like somebody crumpled me up inside. I mean, I emotionally, like, what? How? No. You know what I mean? Like I can't be involved in something like that. Are you crazy?
Wait, Mike. I want you to tell us what he said, and then I want you to tell me what you said as he's saying this. I'm trying to paint the picture.
Okay. He said that he was charging me with murder, no degrees. Then he reads through like how they charge us. They did willfully and feloniously kill Larry Wayne Campbell. And then he's like, I need you to sit there. And there's a little stool in front of the magistrate's window. I sit on it, and he shoves the paper into the magistrate. And that's all he had to say to me. But I'm just shocked. I'm flabbergasted, the word, hurt, kind of terrified. And the magistrate starts berating me a little bit. I can't remember everything he said, but he's like, yes, well, this is pretty bad, sir. And for a charge like this, I don't give a bond. So you'll be having no bond, and this will get figured out in the district court. And I'm like, what does that mean? And he's like, do you understand these charges? And I'm like, no, I don't understand this. What, you telling me somebody died? You telling me somebody's dead right now? And they're kind of just looking at me like, duh. I'm like, I don't know. I was like, how did this happen? Is this right? Is this real? Yeah, so I didn't say anything till we left, and we left the magistrate's seat. He takes me to the next room over, and I finally catch my breath enough to say, hold on a second. And I'm trying to speak. I was in fear for my life, and it just didn't come. I said, hey, somebody's not going home to their family tonight. That's horrible. I said, but I didn't cause this. I didn't make this happen. I'm just supposed to be talking with this guy, and I stopped. I was like, shut up. Just stop talking. You know what I mean? You're not helping. As bad as I feel, bad as I'm like just destroyed a little bit, and I'm just like, just stop talking. And he tells me, well, I want to pray for you. And he says a prayer, but it felt really, really not nice. Like he was really kind of jabbing at me, and I'm like,
This was the magistrate?
It felt even worse. No, this is the detective. So the magistrate has told me I'm getting no bond, I'm charged with murder, no degree, and that'll be figured out in court. And gave the paper back to the detective. So the detective is taking me over to fingerprint me.
I'm sorry, what is murder, no degree?
I don't know. I don't know how he did that. I would think that charge wouldn't be right, but I guess, I don't know. It's either supposed to be first or second degree, I thought, but That's what they did.
Okay. So you're in the other room. He's praying for you. What's happening?
Yes. Yeah, and it came out really, I bowed my head and was kind of listening to him. I wish I could remember it, but I just remember, like, he said it was kind of a little bit nasty, kind of like, yeah, this guy's done something really wrong, and he might not ever be okay for that. I mean, it just made me feel like really, really bad now. And I'm like, dude, you didn't listen to anything I just told you. Obviously, you don't care. I just need to be quiet. And I don't know, my emotions are just all thrown around. I'm thinking about my poor kids, my girlfriend, my house, business. I'm like, and, that comes into my mind later too. Like, oh gosh, I've got customers that are going to hear about this, or if I can't get bonded out and get back to work, my business is going to fail before I can even get it going. I mean, and that's not the most important thing I was thinking of, but all that stuff comes down the line because I got to make money to take care of my kids and girlfriend and stuff. So it was a lot. That and there's also the whole aspect of they really think that I killed someone, and if I did, thou shalt not kill. Like it just hit me like a ton of bricks too. I'm like, I just couldn't believe that I was involved in something that resulted in somebody's death. It's so difficult. So it actually took a while to sit and think, like, wait a minute, this man did point a gun at me, So I don't know. I was just kind of confused there.
Basically, praise for you. Did they read the Miranda rights at this point? Are they telling you that you're under?
No. I was never read my Miranda, ever.
Miranda never showed up. Okay. So what's happening? You're in the room. He prays. It's a backhanded prayer because he's accused you of everything.
Yes. And I remember it was kind of, like I said, it was kind of being critical of me, to say it nicely. And it was pretty quick. And then he's like, all right, come on, we have to go over here. And he basically hands me off to two jailers, and they immediately get my mugshot. And, of course, I'm emotionally just tore up. It's 10:30 at night now. I haven't eaten. I didn't finish my lunch. It was still sitting in the truck because I've been running around that day. And, feel awful. And, bam, they take a mugshot, and it's not a good picture of me whatsoever. But, oh well, and then they fingerprint me, which I no big deal, whatever. Not worried about any of that kind of stuff. They do a DNA swab, and then they ask me to take my shirt off so they can take pictures of my tattoos. And I don't have a ton of them, but I've got a couple. I'm not inked all the way up or anything like that. And I keep those tattoos are for me, I guess. I don't have them like my shirt off and out on display for everybody. But I just thought it was weird. Like, why are you taking a picture without my shirt on? I didn't really understand that. But they said that's what they do. So I in my right after that, that's pretty quick. They're really not saying anything. We go into the next room. There's a desk, and the lady that's at that desk says, "Hey, you need to make a phone call." So they actually let me use a regular landline to call. I immediately called my girlfriend and let her know, like, I am so sorry. I don't know how. I don't know what. I said, but this is what they just charged me with. And now I'm kind of like, I've realized a couple of things. I said, they're charging me this, but I don't understand that. This man came at me with a gun. I don't know what else to tell you. She's like, no, calm down, relax. We'll figure it out. I'll make some calls. She's trying to chill me out. I'm trying to chill her out. And again, I'm telling her I'm sorry. And holy Christmas, who knows what else is screwed up. So then, I told her I wanted to call my dad and just let my dad know what's going on. And my dad was like, oh, hey, and then, I tell him this. And, he was really worried. I said, I'm okay, Dad. I tell you, somebody came at me with a gun, but I'm charged with this. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, and I'll talk to you as soon as I can. So that was the last time I got to talk to anybody for a few days outside the jail.
Were you allowed to visit?
And then I had an attorney showed up the day after Christmas, but this is Friday night, December 22nd. So, I go from standing out there, an older jailer, fairly nice old guy, was like, hey, come on, we got to dress you out. Never done this before, so here I am stripping butt naked for this man in this little room that's got a shower in it. And, as we turn around, as we squat and cough, and I'm like, I'm not used to this at all. I'm not comfortable with it. It's really just, it's an awful experience for anybody that hasn't done it. And it's sad to say that after being in prison for a while, you get used to that. It's not good. Yeah, so they give me some kind of weird cup of some kind of awful smelling soap and have me take a shower, and he leaves me alone for that. And then they come back, they've got an orange jumpsuit and a pair of flip-flops, plastic hard flip-flops, and that's it. Everything else I had on me is gone. No socks, no underwear. Here's some jumpsuit. You don't even know if it's clean, and some plastic flip-flops. And they moved me into a holding cell. It's like where the drunks and stuff are at, right there in front of the jail. And that's where I stayed for like 5 days.
As you're sitting there, you're going through Christmas. Are there other people in this cell with you?
Not yet. No. I don't know if it's my charge or what, but they had like there's other holding cells right around there. They're really big, big windows on the front. They're jamming guys 5 deep in the other one, but this is the front of the jail. The back of the jail, they have the different pods with 80 people per pod or whatever. But, after the first appearance, I'm like, man, what's going on? I can't really get outside. I can't move. I've only been able to use the phone like every couple of days. I don't know about doing canteen or any of these things. All new to me. So
it's Christmas, and you're going through Christmas. What is going through your head? You're sitting in there. You're by yourself. You can't make a call. You haven't seen anybody. What are you thinking? Are you literally sitting in there going through it in your mind like, I don't understand what happened. I really thought they were going to charge me for the little bit of drugs or the guns that was in my truck, not for murder? Right.
Exactly. It's just, you can't wrap your head around how you're here all of a sudden. And it's Christmas. I'm like, this is awful for my children. What do we tell them? We don't know, so we don't tell them. There's, you are ashamed a little bit to be in jail like this, and it's probably all over the place. I didn't know at first the jail, Randolph County, takes your mugshot and slaps it out on Facebook. I had no idea about that. So there's all kinds of stuff pops.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility
that I don't know anything about, and that's fine. It's probably good you can't see any of that, but I don't think that's right either.
Because at this point you're not convicted, right?
Right, not convicted of anything. I was told, hey, I've got no bond, which as I've been locked up and started studying law books and got to know some stuff, the Constitution says you're entitled to a bond you can afford. And I don't see anywhere in that amendment that says except if. So I'm expecting to get a bond at some point. My family, my girlfriend's mom, my friends, I've got together and said, hey, when it comes around, we've got you. This person has property. They knew what a property bond was. They were like, we don't have to come up with cash. We'll get you out. So, they said, just chill out. Everything will be okay. Just relax. We're trying to figure it out. Christmas was hard. I didn't get to talk to my kids. My kid's mom, well, her and I have a pretty decent relationship. I didn't get to speak to her. I kind of felt like she was being left out, not knowing what's going on. And so the kids are supposed to be with me the whole week of Christmas. My whole life is just put on the brakes. So anything that, it's all stopped. Later on, you start thinking about, was that the worst thing I should have been thinking about? Because there's a man dead, and that keeps popping up in my mind. Like, am I damned? Definitely, I'm going to hell when I die. There's little things like that you think about, and you're just like, how could this happen for a life that I've lived that's good and been in service of people and take care of people and loving people, and now here I am in prison or in jail at the time.
I cannot imagine. And you're probably wondering, what are people saying to your children? Have they seen this? Have they seen it on the news? Has anybody said anything?
Right. Exactly. And we didn't tell them for probably 8-9 months almost. And we just kind of kept things going and told the kid, yeah, he's gone. He's away at work. And I think it was just fast forward the whole bunch. But about 8 months, we had a bond hearing. That was denied.
How long had it been? So in total, how long was it before you get to see your kids?
I think I saw them first time in September. So we're talking 9 months, and I've never done that. That's I don't know how anybody can do that. All of these worries, and They're a huge part of everything I'm worried about, is what it's going to mean for them. I got a visit from the first attorney that came to saw me, Mr. Gerber, and he brought his assistant with him. I told him the story again, and he just kind of tapping his pencil on the table, and he's like, "Yeah, Mike, this is a self-defense case all day." He said, he goes, "I don't know everything and see anything, but you're being straight with me." I said, "I'm being 100% straight with you. You're the only person that's going to get me out of here. Ask me questions, check me out, whatever." And he's like, "Okay." He's like, "I think you have a good shot, but here's what I'm going to recommend." He goes, "I'm going to recommend the best county attorney that I think I know who it is, because he had a very bad relationship with the district attorney that took my case, which is King Dozier. I don't want to influence your case negatively, so you can't get a bond. So let me recommend these people to your dad, and we'll go from there." He said also a county attorney, somebody who lives in the county regularly, he said that they're going to know more of the ins and outs of Randolph. He said, "If you were in Winston, you'd stay with me all the way. But you're down here in Randolph." So they recommended Gary and Wells. They do have a good reputation in Randolph County, but we'll talk about that more in a minute. But that's who they recommended. So he kind of bowed out, but I really appreciated him. And again, he's coming back telling me, "Just chill out. I'll keep you on the phone, and yeah, you're going to be okay. You're just going to have to wait a little bit." I didn't know what little bit means. I'm thinking like a month, or a couple of weeks. Oh, they were talking about a little bit with a murder charge. It could be years you're waiting in the jail for that stuff to come
How
out.
long has it been so far?
We're probably somewhere around, we're probably getting around January 10th, January 15th. And somewhere in January 10th, I got served with papers at the jail. So I can't remember if it came before or after that. But I got served with papers that the grand jury had indicted me for first-degree murder, and I wasn't exactly sure what that was. Nobody told me there was any hearing going on or a grand jury going on.
Aren't you supposed to be present for that?
No, you don't have to be. You can request to be if you know it's coming, but they don't tell you that they're getting ready to do it, so you won't know. Okay. They make it secret, and so you have no idea what evidence they present.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
Yes, charge this person, because with some charges, we're indicted. With lesser charges, they don't really do that. But when you're talking about murder charge, you're actually talking about taking somebody's life and changing it drastically just on the charge itself. So, I don't understand how that process. It's real sneaky to me. And once you have an indictment, as long as they have it all right, and even if they mess it up, it's like this ironclad thing that the case is all based on. And I also got served with a receipt of a search warrant, which basically said that they took some stuff out of my truck. And then I got served with another affidavit for a second search warrant. Basically, Detective Chabot wrote this search warrant out request, basically saying that I had pulled up on these guys on these bikes and was trying to get them driving crazy, trying to get them to pull over, and was flashing my lights at them to get them to pull over. And, that kind of meant that the truck was part of the crime, and they needed to go back in to collect any other incidental stuff. The first search warrant, they just went and got any weapons from the truck. The second one, they went and got anything else they thought. So that's when they found the drugs and stuff like that. But the problem with that search warrant affidavit is that's not true. I never flashed my lights at anybody, and nobody ever said that. I never said it because I didn't do it, but neither of the guys, the witnesses, nobody ever said that I flashed my lights. And this kind of kept coming up. The VA said it, this detective said it, but when you lie on a search warrant affidavit, the search warrant is supposed to get thrown out. But I don't know. My lawyer says it doesn't matter, so I'm not sure. But anyways, the guy lied. That's the first time that I caught him lying on something, was that, right at the beginning. So I Gary and friends came, and they the private investigator with them, Jay Hunter. He used to work at the sheriff's department. And I kind of liked them all. I told him everything, and he just looked at me and said, "Well, I'm going to help you. I helped Marines who were in trouble. I'm going to go check things out and see what I can find." So I'm kind of like, "All right, thank you." The one angle we're going to try to enhance or something like that, but he didn't mention any other angles. So, but he's kind of like, "Well, I don't really see." I'm like, "It's right there. What do you mean?" And he's like, "Well, okay, I guess so." And all it really shows me at that angle is me getting out of the truck. And because the camera angle is from behind the truck, once I get to the driver's side headlights, you can't see me. You know, I mean, you might just see my shoulder or something, but you can't see really what I'm doing. But you see all of him go up. But like I said, the angle is, it's almost looking over his left shoulder. So all you can see is his shoulders kind of move until he does that pivot, his arms up.
Oh, so the camera doesn't show you, your body? It doesn't show you either?
No. It just shows me get out the drawer, like you're like you're looking at something in the back. So the driver's door is open. You see me get out and kind of go around, and then you lose me as I get to the front of the truck.
So basically, this video doesn't really show who pulls what first.
No.
And there's no witnesses to say, I was there, I saw exactly what happened, and this person, other than his friend.
Yeah. So his friend, you know, I think at this point I've gotten free, or maybe I get it like in the next.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
But his friend's story, his friend's initial story is that I got out of the truck and I started shooting over the hood of the truck and came around the front of the hood of the truck shooting the whole time. And you can plainly see on the video that shit never happened. Excuse me. That never happened. It's just wrong. It's a lie. And that's, you know, one of those statements is he says that his friend shot back at me. He says I'm there for like 10 minutes. I'm doing some kind of crazy action with my gun and a bunch of other things. Like, it's all over the place. To me, the video seems faster than what I remember it. But I remember it like maybe being a minute or two when it's maybe a minute total. He's trying to say it's like 10 minutes and not theirs. There's also the guy who's in his car. So he made a 911 call. And his 911 call said, I didn't see anything but a black Toyota truck. Some kind of people get rumbling at each other, and then I think a guy got out of the truck and shot. I didn't see anything. I was ducked down in my seat. Well, then he makes a different statement to police, saying, the murderer got out of the truck. He had blonde hair, shoulder-length blonde hair, plaid shirt, khaki pants, and I don't know, like the description's all off. None of the things he says I did show up on the camera. So these statements are like all over the place. And I'm arguing with my lawyer about it, like, how can that be true? Look at this. That's a lie. And now I'm starting to feel like really screwed a little bit because I left the scene. Like, that was stupid. But, you know, in my mind, I'm trying not to get shot. So, you know, I don't know. This is, I guess, what the police are running on. Like, I just got out of my truck and started pumping around over the hood. But you can see I didn't do that. Let me see. I looked at the video, and you can plainly see that, you know, he's got to make all those steps to get over towards me. He already tried his basketball pivot. You see all that, the shuffling, him falling on the curb, dropping the pistol. The police said they picked up, it was never moved. They watched the whole video for like a couple of hours, you know, with all the police coming, the ambulance stuff. That pistol's never moved. So, you know, he definitely had a gun. And, you know I saw it in his hand. His friend said he had it out. And his friend actually made another statement to our attorney saying that he didn't know who drew first, but that we both had our guns out. And, you know, I don't know. There's so many different statements. I don't know what you believe this guy to say. But, yeah, the gun was definitely out. Let me see. Oh, yeah, also in this meeting, Gary told me that this was not a death penalty case, and I shouldn't have been charged with anything more than second-degree murder. Said if the Rule 24 hearing didn't go our way, he may request a special Snap Watson hearing because there's no way they should go for the death penalty. So now I figured out a Rule 24 hearing is a hearing to find out if you're going to pursue the death penalty or not. So I was a little taken aback by that, but I was like, nah, surely not. They're going to go in there and say, no, it's not a death penalty case. Because I'm thinking like Jeffrey Dahmer type stuff.
Right. Yeah.
For that kind of stuff. The attorneys also said, yeah, we're going to take a swing at bonds. Don't worry about it. We'll see what happens. You know, I'm preparing for this, but I'm excited I'm going to get a bond. So a couple of days go by, and I try to call my girlfriend in the morning for my half hour out, and I can't reach her on the phone. The working on the third week in January maybe. We talk once a day if we can. If I got to call somebody else for something important, we do that. But I don't get her on the phone. I tried her a couple times, so then I call my dad. And he's right away, he's like, hey, I need you to be calm. Do not do anything crazy. Just relax. This is really going to upset you. I got to tell you something. And I'm like, well, what's up? And he's like, your girlfriend was arrested. And I was just like, I mean, I just wanted to bawl. Like what else can happen?
Why is she arrested? Because she wasn't even there.
Exactly. I just wanted to scream. My dad's like, look, he goes, she got arrested last night. I went and bonded her out. So my dad assured me everything was going to be okay. He explained to me that my girlfriend had been arrested, but he'd already bonded her out. And he didn't really get deep into what it was about, but he said that, yes, they went and searched her home, and she's pretty upset. He said that they took her phone, but she's working on that, and they'll have a phone number. He said, call me tomorrow. I should have a phone number for her. She hadn't been at this job that long, maybe about 5 or 6 months, but she's worked in the furniture industry in High Point for different furniture houses and stuff in the showrooms and things. But she finally got a job for one of these businesses that owns a whole bunch of them. So it was a big bump in pay, with much better benefits and all that. So what I found out is when I finally got a hold of her, I said, are you okay? I'm just freaking out. A couple days later, and she's kind of short. Like, I'm all right, fine. And prior to this, because of this job, she's like, don't worry, I've got the mortgage. She's like, I can't take care of your credit card bill or any of these other things. I've got the mortgage. I got it. Don't worry about it. So now she tells me what happened is that she gets off at 3:30 in the afternoon. At 3 o'clock, Randolph County Sheriff's Department came to her work, and you have to go in like the bottom floor, check in, and then you go upstairs, and it opens up to this cubicle area. And it's big. There's probably 30 or 40 desks up there in cubicles. It's like this huge spot, and there's somebody, it's a busy place. A lot of people working there, lots of friends. And she's just got in good with the boss. I mean, it's just like we're both finally getting on a level with our careers. We're able to do stuff, save for the kids. We're not struggling I don't know, things felt good. And these guys come right in the middle of the cubicles, and they're kind of strong with her. Get up, you're coming with us, you're under arrest. And they're doing this stuff all in front of all the people she works with. Her boss has come out of the office, she's seen it. So not only, I just can't imagine how embarrassing and how hurt she's got to be.
Well, no, everybody knows you guys as a couple, and you're from the area. So she not only is dealing with the embarrassment of what you just went through, now as an innocent bystander, she's going through it. And they could have had the decency to walk her out and then do that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. They could have, if they felt they had to arrest her, they could have pulled her over after work. They could have done it in the parking lot. And if they wanted to search my house, they could search my house. Here she is, 4 or 5 sheriff's deputies in the middle of work. I mean, it's just awful. And so Dad bonded her out. They took her phone. Well, they took her to the sheriff's department. So she's crying in the car like, why did you do this to me? He's like, well, we're executing the search warrant at the house right now. And she's like, why? I would have let you in the house. And they're like, well, we thought that you might call guys from the motorcycle club and they might show up. So when she came in Tuesday, a manager and some boss she didn't know, somebody way up in the company, said, look, we think you're a great hire, and we're really sorry that you're going through this, but we've got to let you go. We can't be attached to anything like this. We're sorry. So they said she was arrested for accessory after the fact of first-degree murder. Well, what
does that mean?
No idea. So that would mean, like, that's if somebody murders somebody and you know about it and you let them get in the car with you and you run them to Texas. That's accessory after the fact.
But she was never around you.
And those cops wouldn't even let her near you.
Right.
And they took you straight to jail. So how did they and they hear the calls, they're recorded, so how could they?
Is it because maybe they got phone records and they saw that you had talked to her? Did you talk to her prior to getting stopped?
That did. Call her, and then her mom and her showed up, but that didn't have anything to do with it. What they said was is that she deleted my iPhone, but they couldn't get into. Which, if they asked nicely, I put the password in for them and let them get in the phone. But they never asked any of that. What we know is that she didn't do it. She didn't delete it. The night that I got arrested, my email account got an email saying Michael's iPhone is being deleted. And she was with her mom all night. Her mom doesn't have internet service, doesn't have anything. I don't think, she's always allowed to get in my phone or do whatever she needs to do, but she didn't have any way to delete the thing. We basically had evidence showing that she didn't do it, but they said that 10 days after I got locked up, that's when the phone deleted itself. But we had the email the night that I got locked up. That's when it was deleted. I had it set up from the first time I used it. If you put the passcode in wrong 5 times, it wipes the phone. Like